In a world brimming with distractions, more often than not, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Today let's delve into the timeless wisdom of the Stoics and discover why less really is more. Let's dive in. Number 1. Focus on essential needs. Imagine waking up each day and feeling like you're in control, not overwhelmed by the endless to-do lists or the constant chase for more stuff. This is what the Stoics were all about. They believed in cutting out the noise and honing in on what truly matters. It's like having a closet with only your favorite clothes. Everything fits, everything's comfortable, and everything serves a purpose. So, what does it mean to focus on essential needs? Well, it's about stripping away the excess and embracing simplicity. It's not about denying yourself pleasure or living like a monk. It's about recognizing that you don't need much to be happy and content. Think of it as clearing out your mental and emotional clutter. By focusing on the essentials, you create space for what truly brings value to your life. When you focus on essential needs, you start to see how much energy and time are wasted on things that don't really matter. Picture your day like a jar. If you fill it with big, important rocks first, like your health, relationships, and passions, there's still room for the smaller pebbles. But if you start with the pebbles, the trivial tasks and distractions, you run out of space for the rocks. The Stoics taught that by identifying and prioritizing what's truly essential, we can live more fulfilling and peaceful lives. Now, let's talk about how this looks in real life. Imagine yourself in the hustle and bustle of daily life. Emails, notifications, errands, the constant bombardment of information. It's easy to get caught up and lose sight of what really matters. The Stoic approach is to step back and ask yourself, is this essential? If it's not, let it go. It's about making conscious choices that align with your values and goals. Living with less doesn't mean depriving yourself. It's about freeing yourself from the unnecessary so you can focus on what brings true joy and meaning. Think of it like decluttering your home. When you get rid of the things you don't need, you're left with a space that's not only easier to manage but also more enjoyable to be in. The same goes for your life. When you focus on essential needs, you clear out the distractions and make room for peace and happiness. The Stoics were big on self-discipline. They believed that by mastering your desires and impulses, you could achieve a state of tranquility. It's like training a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger you become. By focusing on essential needs, you develop the ability to resist the pull of instant gratification and superficial desires. This leads to a deeper sense of satisfaction and contentment. So, how do you start? Begin by taking inventory of your life. What are the things that truly matter to you? What are your non-negotiables? Once you have a clear understanding of your essentials, start eliminating the non-essentials. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process of letting go and simplifying. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. It's progress. Each small step towards focusing on your essential needs brings you closer to a more intentional and fulfilling life. The beauty of this approach is that it's unique to you. Your essential needs might be different from someone else's, and that's perfectly okay. What matters is that you're living in alignment with your values and priorities. In essence, focusing on essential needs is about reclaiming your time, energy, and attention. It's about living a life that's true to who you are and what you value. The Stoics understood that less is more because it allows us to connect with what really matters. So, embrace simplicity, prioritize your essentials, and watch how it transforms your life. Number 2. Strengthen relationships through meaningful interactions. Imagine this: instead of having a vast network of acquaintances, you have a few deep, meaningful connections. It's like having a handful of diamonds instead of a bag full of pebbles. The quality of your interactions can vastly outweigh the quantity. The Stoics would argue that true fulfillment in relationships comes from this depth, not from breadth. Now, think about your everyday conversations. How often do they feel rushed, superficial, or transactional? It's like grabbing a quick bite to eat versus sitting down to a carefully prepared meal. The Stoics believed in savoring interactions, in being fully present and engaged. When you focus on meaningful interactions, you're not just exchanging words, you're sharing a part of yourself and inviting others to do the same. Imagine meeting up with a friend and really listening, not just waiting for your turn to speak. You're not distracted by your phone, not thinking about your to-do list. You're there, in the moment. This kind of presence is a gift. It's saying, "You matter to me. I value this time we have together." And in turn, you create a space where your friend feels heard, valued, and understood. That's powerful stuff. When we prioritize meaningful interactions, we start to see relationships not as things to be maintained but as experiences to be cherished. It's about quality over quantity. Think about it, having a deep, heartfelt conversation can leave you feeling more connected and fulfilled than a dozen small talks. It's like comparing a rich, satisfying meal to snacking all day. One leaves you nourished, the other just keeps you occupied. The Stoics taught that by focusing on what truly matters, we can find greater peace and happiness. In the context of relationships, this means valuing depth and authenticity. It's about being honest, open, and vulnerable. It's about sharing your true self and encouraging others to do the same. This kind of interaction builds trust and strengthens bonds in a way that superficial connections never can. Let's consider how this plays out in daily life. Instead of spreading yourself thin trying to keep up with everyone, you invest your time and energy in the relationships that truly matter. You choose to spend your time with people who uplift you, who challenge you, who bring out the best in you. And you do the same for them. It's a mutual exchange of support, respect, and love. This doesn't mean you have to cut ties with everyone else. It's more about being intentional with your time and energy. It's recognizing that you can't be everything to everyone, and that's okay. By focusing on a few meaningful relationships, you create a support system that's strong and resilient. You know these people have your back, and you have theirs. It's a sense of security that can't be bought or faked. Meaningful interactions also mean being present in the moment. When you're with someone, be with them. Put away distractions, make eye contact, and really listen. Show empathy and understanding. These small actions make a big difference. They turn ordinary moments into memorable ones. They build a foundation of trust and respect that can weather any storm. So, how do you start? Begin by reflecting on your current relationships. Who are the people that truly matter to you? How can you invest more time and energy into those connections? It might mean having fewer, but more meaningful, get-togethers. It might mean making an effort to have deeper conversations, to really listen and share. It might mean being more present and engaged when you're with them. Remember, the goal isn't to have perfect relationships. It's to have real ones. Ones that are built on mutual respect, trust, and love. The Stoics believed that these kinds of relationships are essential to a fulfilling life. So, take a step back, focus on what truly matters, and watch how your relationships transform. You'll find that less really is more. Number 3. Increase adaptability by practicing minimalism. Picture this, your life is like a backpack. When it's overloaded with stuff, you're weighed down, slow, and not exactly ready for anything that comes your way. But when you lighten that load and only carry what you need, you can move freely, adapt quickly, and handle whatever life throws at you. Now, imagine your mind as that same backpack. The more cluttered it is with unnecessary worries, possessions, and distractions, the harder it becomes to adapt to new situations. Minimalism, from a Stoic viewpoint, is all about clearing out that mental and physical clutter to make room for what truly matters. It's like giving your mind and life a breath of fresh air. The Stoics were masters of adaptability. They believed that by focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't, you become more resilient. And minimalism is a key part of this. When you practice minimalism, you're not just getting rid of stuff, you're training your mind to be flexible, to roll with the punches. It's about learning to be content with less so that you're not thrown off balance when things don't go as planned. Think about it. When you're not bogged down by excess, you're more agile. You can pivot and adapt to new circumstances with ease. Let's say you suddenly have to move to a new place. If your life is cluttered with unnecessary belongings, the process is stressful and overwhelming. But if you've embraced minimalism, moving becomes a breeze. You're not attached to your possessions, so you can focus on the new opportunities instead of the logistical nightmare. In a more abstract sense, minimalism also means shedding mental clutter. It's about freeing your mind from constant distractions and focusing on what's truly important. This mental clarity allows you to see situations more clearly and respond more effectively. You're not caught up in the noise, you're tuned into what really matters. This makes you more adaptable because you can assess situations more accurately and make better decisions. The Stoics also taught that by minimizing our desires, we can increase our adaptability. When you're content with what you have and don't constantly crave more, you're less likely to be rattled by changes. You become more self-sufficient, more grounded. If you're always chasing the next big thing, every little hiccup can feel like a major setback. But if you're happy with less, those same hiccups become much easier to navigate. Let's dive a bit deeper. Practicing minimalism means you're constantly evaluating what adds value to your life and what doesn't. This habit of reflection and intentionality makes you more adaptable because you're always in tune with what you truly need. You're not holding onto things out of habit or fear, you're making conscious choices that align with your values. This makes it easier to adjust when circumstances change because you're already used to letting go of the unnecessary. In the hustle and bustle of daily life, it's easy to accumulate stuff, not just physical possessions, but also emotional baggage and mental noise. Minimalism, from a Stoic perspective, is about stripping away the excess and getting back to basics. It's about creating a life that's simple, intentional, and aligned with your core values. When you do this, you become more adaptable because you're not weighed down by the extraneous. So, how do you start? Begin by taking a look at your life and identifying what's essential and what's not. It might mean decluttering your home, simplifying your schedule, or letting go of unproductive thoughts. The goal is to create space for what truly matters. This isn't about deprivation, it's about liberation. It's about freeing yourself from the unnecessary so you can focus on what's important. Remember, the Stoics believe that by practicing minimalism, we can increase our adaptability and resilience. It's about learning to thrive with less and finding strength in simplicity. So, embrace minimalism, lighten your load, and discover the freedom and flexibility that comes with it. You'll find that less really is more. Number 4. Deepen self-awareness by reflecting on what truly matters. Imagine taking a quiet moment for yourself, away from the hustle and bustle. You close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just reflect. It's in these moments of solitude that you can really connect with your inner self and start to understand what's genuinely important. The Stoics were big on this kind of reflection. They believed that by regularly examining your life and your choices, you could uncover what truly matters to you. Think of it as a mental detox. Just like you would declutter your home to create a serene space, you're decluttering your mind to create clarity and peace. When you start to reflect on what truly matters, you're peeling away the layers of superficial wants and distractions. It's like chipping away at a block of marble to reveal the statue within. You start to see your core values more clearly. And this process of self-discovery is incredibly liberating. It's like finding a compass that guides you through the chaos of everyday life. This reflection isn't a one-time thing. It's a practice, something you do regularly. It's about asking yourself tough questions. What do I value most in life? What brings me genuine joy? What am I holding on to that I can let go? The answers to these questions help you strip away the non-essentials and focus on what's truly important. And when you do this, you deepen your self-awareness in a profound way. Now, let's talk about why this is so powerful. When you're clear about what matters to you, you can make decisions with confidence and clarity. You're not swayed by every passing trend or external pressure. You're anchored in your own values and beliefs. This makes you more resilient, more grounded. It's like having a solid foundation that supports you no matter what life throws your way. The Stoics believe that true happiness comes from within, not from external things. By reflecting on what truly matters, you're tuning into your inner self and finding that source of happiness. You start to realize that you don't need a lot to be content. You don't need to chase after every shiny object or compare yourself to others. You're enough as you are. And this realization is incredibly empowering. When you deepen your self-awareness, you also become more mindful. You're more present in the moment because you're not distracted by unimportant things. You can appreciate the simple pleasures in life. A beautiful sunset, a quiet walk, a meaningful conversation. These moments become more vivid and fulfilling because you're truly present. This practice of reflection can also help you navigate challenges and setbacks. When you're clear about what matters to you, you can keep things in perspective. You don't get thrown off course by every little bump in the road. You can stay focused on your goals and values, even when things get tough. It's like having a map that guides you through the storm. So, how do you start? Find a quiet place where you can be alone with your thoughts. Take a few deep breaths to center yourself. Then, start reflecting. Write down your thoughts if it helps. Be honest with yourself. What really matters to you? What can you let go of? This practice isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Each time you reflect, you deepen your self-awareness a little more. Remember, the Stoics taught that by reflecting on what truly matters, we can find greater peace and happiness. It's about connecting with your inner self and living in alignment with your values. So, take the time to reflect. Listen to your inner voice. And discover the clarity and peace that comes from knowing what truly matters. You'll find that less really is more. Number 5. Achieve a sense of freedom by reducing material dependencies. Imagine waking up in the morning, feeling light and unburdened. Your home is simple, yet cozy, filled only with things that truly bring you joy or serve a purpose. There's no clutter, no excess. Just space to breathe, think, and live. The Stoics believe that true freedom comes from within. It's not about having more stuff, it's about needing less. When you reduce your material dependencies, you free yourself from the constant desire for more. It's like taking off a heavy backpack you've been carrying around for too long. Suddenly, you can move more freely, think more clearly, and live more fully. Think about the last time you bought something new. The thrill of the purchase, the excitement of having something shiny and new. But how long did that feeling last? Days, maybe weeks? Then, it's on to the next thing. The cycle never ends. But what if you stepped off that treadmill? What if you found contentment not in acquiring more, but in appreciating what you already have? Reducing material dependencies doesn't mean giving up all your possessions. It's about shifting your mindset. It's recognizing that your worth and happiness aren't tied to what you own. The Stoics taught that by focusing on inner values rather than external possessions, we can achieve a deeper, more lasting sense of fulfillment. Imagine you own fewer things. Each item has a place and a purpose. You're not constantly cleaning, organizing, or worrying about your stuff. Your mind is clearer because there's less to think about, less to manage. This simplicity brings a sense of calm and control. You're no longer a slave to your possessions. You own them, they don't own you. This sense of freedom extends beyond just physical possessions. It's about freeing yourself from the expectations and pressures of society. The idea that you need to have the latest gadget, the trendiest clothes, or the biggest house to be happy. The Stoics would argue that true happiness comes from living a life aligned with your values, not from chasing after material wealth. When you reduce your material dependencies, you also become more resilient. Life is unpredictable. Things change, jobs come and go, economies fluctuate. But when you're not reliant on material possessions for your happiness, you can adapt more easily. You're not devastated by a financial setback or a loss of possessions. Your sense of self and your happiness remain intact because they're not tied to external things. Let's consider the emotional freedom that comes with reducing material dependencies. When you're not constantly chasing after more, you can focus on what truly matters: relationships, personal growth, and experiences. You have more time and energy to invest in the things that bring true joy and fulfillment. You can live more intentionally, choosing experiences and connections over possessions. By embracing this mindset, you create a life that's rich in meaning, not things. You find joy in the simple pleasures: a walk in nature, a good book, a heartfelt conversation. These moments become more valuable because you're not distracted by the constant desire for more. You're present, engaged, and truly alive. So, how do you start reducing material dependencies? Begin by evaluating what you have. What brings you joy? What serves a purpose? What's just taking up space? Let go of the things that don't add value to your life. It's a gradual process, but each step brings you closer to a sense of freedom. Remember, the Stoics believe that less is more because it frees you from the chains of materialism. It allows you to focus on what truly matters, to live a life of purpose and fulfillment. So, take a step back, evaluate your dependencies, and start the journey towards a freer, more intentional life. You'll find that in letting go, you gain so much more. Number 6. Foster a sense of community by sharing excess resources. Alright, let's dive into how fostering a sense of community by sharing excess resources can bring immense value, especially through the lens of Stoicism. Imagine a neighborhood where people look out for each other, where sharing isn't just an occasional act but a way of life. It's a place where the concept of mine transforms into ours, creating a bond that goes beyond mere acquaintances. The Stoics believed in the interconnectedness of all people. They taught that we're all part of a larger whole, like individual threads in a vast tapestry. By sharing our excess resources, we strengthen these connections and weave a tighter, more supportive community. It's like pulling together your strengths and assets to create something far greater than the sum of its parts. Sharing what you don't need fosters a sense of abundance. When you give away the extra, you're not just offloading stuff, you're sending a message that there's plenty to go around. This act of generosity creates a ripple effect. It encourages others to do the same, transforming a community into a thriving network of mutual support. Imagine the joy of giving and receiving, knowing that you're part of something bigger, something meaningful. Think about it. When you share, you break down barriers. It's an invitation to connect, to build trust, and to form bonds. You're not just handing over a physical object, you're creating a moment of connection, a shared experience. These moments accumulate, weaving a fabric of community that's resilient and compassionate. The act of sharing also humbles you. It's a reminder that you have more than enough, that your excess can bring joy or relief to someone else. This humility is at the heart of Stoicism. It's about recognizing our place in the world, understanding that we're not isolated beings but part of a larger ecosystem. By sharing, we acknowledge this interconnectedness and our responsibility to each other. Imagine a community garden. You have more tomatoes than you can possibly eat. Instead of letting them go to waste, you share them with your neighbors. In return, maybe someone gives you some herbs or cucumbers. It's a simple exchange, but it fosters a sense of belonging and cooperation. It turns a group of individuals into a community. Now, let's talk about the personal growth that comes from sharing. When you give away your excess, you're practicing detachment. You're learning to let go of material possessions and the grip they have on you. This act of letting go aligns perfectly with Stoic teachings. It frees you from the chains of materialism and shifts your focus to more meaningful pursuits. Sharing also cultivates gratitude. When you see the impact of your generosity, you start to appreciate what you have more deeply. It's a cycle. The more you share, the more grateful you become, and the more you want to share. This gratitude extends to all aspects of life, enhancing your overall sense of well-being and contentment. Moreover, sharing can ignite creativity and resourcefulness. When resources are shared, people find new and innovative ways to use them. It's like a brainstorming session where everyone brings something to the table. This collective creativity not only benefits individuals but also strengthens the community as a whole. So, how do you start fostering a sense of community through sharing? Begin by looking at what you have in abundance. It could be anything: time, skills, food, tools. Identify what you can share and take that first step. It might feel small, but remember, every act of sharing builds the foundation of a stronger community. The Stoics believed in living in harmony with nature and with each other. By sharing our excess resources, we embody this philosophy. We create a world where less is truly more, where generosity replaces greed, and where communities thrive on the strength of their connections. So, open your heart, share your abundance, and watch as the simple act of giving transforms not just your life, but the lives of those around you. You'll see that in sharing, everyone gains so much more. Number 7. Encourage lifelong learning by focusing on core values. Imagine your mind as a garden. When you focus on your core values, you're planting seeds of wisdom and knowledge that will grow and flourish throughout your life. It's about nurturing what's truly important, allowing it to guide your learning and growth. The Stoics believed that a life well lived is one guided by virtue and wisdom. They saw learning as a lifelong journey, not just something confined to classrooms or textbooks. By honing in on your core values, you create a solid foundation for this journey. Think of these values as your North Star, guiding you through the vast sea of information and experiences. When you focus on what really matters, you can cut through the noise and distractions. It's like having a filter that helps you see what's truly valuable and relevant to your growth. This doesn't mean ignoring everything else, but rather prioritizing what aligns with your principles and beliefs. You become more selective, seeking out knowledge that enhances your understanding and supports your values. Let's get more specific. Imagine your core value is wisdom. You're not just looking to accumulate facts, you're seeking deeper understanding. You're interested in the why and the how, not just the what. This mindset turns every experience into a learning opportunity. A conversation, a book, even a quiet moment of reflection, all become sources of insight and growth. Now, consider another core value: resilience. When you focus on resilience, you're constantly learning how to adapt and thrive, no matter the circumstances. Every challenge becomes a lesson, every setback a teacher. You start to see obstacles not as roadblocks but as stepping stones. This perspective fosters a growth mindset, where you're always open to learning and improving. The beauty of focusing on core values is that it simplifies your learning journey. You're not overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information out there. Instead, you're guided by a clear sense of purpose. It's like having a map that shows you the most meaningful paths to take. You're not wandering aimlessly, you're moving with intention and direction. This approach also brings a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. When you learn in alignment with your values, the knowledge you gain feels more meaningful and relevant. It's not just about acquiring skills or information, it's about personal growth and development. You're not just filling your mind, you're enriching your soul. Let's talk about the process of lifelong learning itself. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And focusing on core values helps you pace yourself. You're not in a rush to learn everything all at once. You're patient, taking the time to truly understand and internalize what you learn. This depth of learning is far more rewarding than a superficial grasp of many things. Moreover, focusing on core values fosters a sense of curiosity and wonder. You're not just learning because you have to, you're learning because you're genuinely interested and engaged. Your values inspire you to explore, to question, to seek out new perspectives. This curiosity keeps your mind active and alive, fueling your passion for lifelong learning. So, how do you start? Begin by identifying your core values. What principles guide your life? What do you truly care about? Once you're clear on these, let them guide your learning journey. Seek out books, experiences, and conversations that align with these values. Be intentional about what you choose to learn, and always reflect on how it connects to your core principles. Remember, the Stoics taught that a life guided by virtue and wisdom is a life well lived. By focusing on your core values, you create a rich and fulfilling learning journey. It's about deepening your understanding, fostering resilience, and nurturing curiosity. So, embrace your core values, let them guide your learning, and discover the joy of a life filled with meaningful growth. You'll find that less really is more, and that lifelong learning is a journey worth taking. Number 8. Enhance creativity by focusing on fewer, more significant projects. Picture this: your mind is like a garden. When you try to plant too many seeds, they end up fighting for space, nutrients, and sunlight. The result? A lot of stunted growth and not much flourishing. But when you plant just a few seeds and tend to them carefully, they grow strong and beautiful. The same goes for your creative projects. The Stoics believed in quality over quantity. They saw the value in dedicating yourself to what truly matters, rather than spreading yourself too thin. When you focus on fewer, more significant projects, you're giving yourself the space to dive deep, to explore every nuance, and to really let your creativity blossom. It's like saying no to the noise and yes to what's meaningful. Imagine your mind is a cluttered room. There are a million things going on, and it's hard to find anything, let alone focus. By choosing to concentrate on fewer projects, you're essentially decluttering your mental space. This allows you to see things more clearly, to think more freely. You're not constantly jumping from one task to another. Instead, you're immersing yourself fully in what you're passionate about. This deep focus leads to a flow state, where creativity thrives. You know that feeling when you're so absorbed in something that time just flies by? That's the magic of flow. It's when your best ideas come to life, when you solve problems effortlessly, and when you create something truly remarkable. By focusing on fewer projects, you invite more of these flow states into your life. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of deliberate practice. When you focus on a few key projects, you're able to put in the time and effort needed to master your craft. It's like honing a blade. The more you work on it, the sharper it becomes. This dedication not only improves your skills but also sparks new ideas and perspectives. It's in this depth of focus that true creativity is born. Let's talk about the joy of creating something meaningful. When you're not bogged down by 100 different tasks, you can fully enjoy the process of creation. You're not rushing to get things done, you're savoring each moment. This mindfulness enhances your creative experience, making it more fulfilling and rewarding. It's like taking a leisurely walk through a beautiful park instead of sprinting through it. Focusing on fewer projects also reduces stress and burnout. When you have too much on your plate, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and exhausted. This mental fatigue stifles creativity and makes it hard to think clearly. But when you concentrate on what truly matters, you're able to work at a sustainable pace. You have the energy and enthusiasm to bring your best ideas to life. This approach also encourages innovation. When you're not spread thin, you have the mental bandwidth to experiment and take risks. You're not afraid to try new things and think outside the box. This playful experimentation is where some of the most groundbreaking ideas come from. It's in these moments of exploration that creativity flourishes. So, how do you start? Begin by evaluating your current projects. What truly excites you? What aligns with your passions and values? Focus on these and let go of the rest. It might be tough at first, but remember, you're making space for something greater. Dedicate your time and energy to these significant projects, and watch as your creativity soars. Remember, the Stoics believe that less is more. By focusing on fewer, more significant projects, you enhance your creativity and create work that's not only meaningful but also deeply fulfilling. So, embrace the power of focus, dive deep into what you love, and let your creativity shine. You'll find that in doing less, you achieve so much more. Number 9. Reduce anxiety by minimizing unnecessary commitments. Imagine waking up each morning feeling a sense of calm and clarity. Your schedule isn't packed to the brim with obligations. Instead, it's filled with meaningful activities that resonate with your core values. Sounds dreamy, right? That's the beauty of embracing less. The Stoics were all about simplicity and focus. They believed that by eliminating the superfluous, you could concentrate on what truly matters. Think of your commitments like a garden. When you overplant, everything competes for water, sunlight, and nutrients. The result? A tangled mess where nothing thrives. But when you carefully choose what to plant, everything has room to grow and flourish. Now, picture your calendar. It's often a chaotic mix of meetings, errands, social events, and responsibilities. Each commitment might seem small on its own, but together, they create a whirlwind of activity that leaves you breathless and anxious. The Stoics would advise you to step back and evaluate. What truly needs your attention? What aligns with your values? What can you let go of? When you minimize unnecessary commitments, you free up mental and emotional space. It's like clearing a cluttered room. Suddenly, you can breathe easier, think more clearly, and move more freely. This reduction in clutter doesn't just make your life simpler, it makes it richer. You're no longer spreading yourself thin across a multitude of tasks. Instead, you're focusing your energy on a few significant ones. This approach helps reduce anxiety in a big way. When you're not constantly rushing from one thing to the next, you have more time to relax and recharge. You can be fully present in each moment, rather than always thinking about the next thing on your list. This mindfulness brings a sense of peace and calm that's hard to find when you're perpetually busy. The Stoics believed in the importance of saying no. It's not about being selfish or unhelpful. It's about recognizing your limits and protecting your well-being. When you say no to unnecessary commitments, you're saying yes to yourself. You're choosing to prioritize your mental and emotional health. And that's a powerful act of self-care. Imagine how much lighter you'd feel if you only committed to things that truly mattered to you. No more obligations that drain your energy and bring you no joy. No more stress from overcommitting and under-delivering. Just a clear, focused path that aligns with your values and goals. That's the freedom that comes from minimizing unnecessary commitments. This doesn't mean you should avoid all responsibilities. It's about being selective and intentional with your time and energy. It's about recognizing that you can't do everything, and that's okay. By focusing on a few key commitments, you can give your best effort and truly excel. This focused approach not only reduces anxiety but also increases your satisfaction and sense of accomplishment. Let's talk about how to start. Begin by taking an honest look at your current commitments. What truly matters to you? What aligns with your values and brings you joy? What feels like an obligation rather than a choice? Once you've identified the unnecessary commitments, start letting them go. It might be difficult at first, but remember, you're making space for what's truly important. Communicate your decisions clearly and kindly. People will understand, especially when you explain that you're prioritizing your well-being. Over time, you'll find that people respect your boundaries and you feel more empowered and in control of your life. In the end, reducing unnecessary commitments is about reclaiming your time and energy. It's about living a life that's aligned with your values and free from the constant stress of overcommitting. The Stoics knew that less is often more. By minimizing your commitments, you create a life that's simpler, more focused, and infinitely more fulfilling. So, take a step back, breathe, and start saying no to make room for a more meaningful and anxiety-free life. Number 10. Strengthen spiritual growth by seeking wisdom over wealth. Picture this: you're standing at a crossroads. One path is glittering with gold and promises of material riches. The other path, though less shiny, is paved with knowledge, insight, and inner peace. The Stoics would nudge you towards the latter, urging you to choose wisdom over wealth every time. The Stoics believed that true fulfillment comes not from accumulating riches but from cultivating a rich mind and spirit. Imagine your soul as a garden. When you focus on wisdom, you're planting seeds of virtue, understanding, and inner strength. These seeds, when nurtured, grow into a flourishing oasis of tranquility and resilience. On the other hand, chasing wealth often leads to a garden choked with weeds of anxiety, greed, and dissatisfaction. Wisdom is like a guiding star, helping you navigate the tumultuous seas of life. It's about understanding the nature of things, recognizing what's within your control, and letting go of what's not. This perspective brings a profound sense of peace. You're not tossed around by every wave of fortune or misfortune. Instead, you sail smoothly, guided by the light of wisdom. Think about the joy that comes from learning, growing, and expanding your mind. When you seek wisdom, you're on a constant journey of discovery. Each day brings new insights, deeper understanding, and greater clarity. This journey is infinitely rewarding, far more so than the fleeting pleasure of material wealth. The thrill of buying something new fades quickly, but the joy of gaining a new perspective, of understanding a complex concept, lasts a lifetime. The Stoics taught that wisdom leads to virtue, and virtue leads to true happiness. It's about living in harmony with your highest self and the world around you. When you prioritize wisdom, you're aligning your actions with your values. This alignment brings a sense of integrity and inner peace. You're not chasing after external validations or superficial achievements. Instead, you're grounded in your inner truth. Now, imagine the sense of freedom that comes with this perspective. You're no longer a slave to the pursuit of wealth, constantly striving for more, always feeling like it's never enough. Instead, you're free to focus on what truly matters. You have the time and mental space to reflect, to meditate, to engage in deep conversations. This freedom is the fertile ground in which spiritual growth flourishes. Wisdom also brings resilience. When you face challenges, you have the inner resources to cope and grow. You understand that setbacks are opportunities for learning, not reasons for despair. This resilient mindset transforms how you experience life. You're not easily shaken by external circumstances because your sense of worth and peace comes from within. Seeking wisdom over wealth also fosters a sense of community. When you value knowledge and virtue, you naturally connect with others who share these values. You engage in meaningful conversations, support each other's growth, and build a network of like-minded souls. This sense of community enriches your spiritual journey, providing support, inspiration, and a sense of belonging. So, how do you start prioritizing wisdom? Begin by making time for reflection and learning. Read philosophical texts, meditate on their teachings, and apply them to your life. Surround yourself with people who inspire you to grow. Engage in conversations that challenge and expand your thinking. Most importantly, listen to your inner voice, the quiet whisper that guides you towards truth and understanding. In essence, choosing wisdom over wealth is about shifting your focus from the external to the internal. It's about recognizing that true wealth lies not in what you possess, but in who you become. The Stoics believed that a life guided by wisdom is a life of peace, virtue, and profound spiritual growth. So, take a step back from the material chase, embrace the journey of learning, and discover the deep, lasting joy that comes from a life rooted in wisdom. You'll find that less really is more, and in seeking wisdom, you gain a treasure far greater than gold. And there you have it, fellow seekers of wisdom, the Stoic perspective on why less truly is more. Remember, it's not about depriving ourselves but rather enriching our lives with what truly matters. By embracing simplicity, we find freedom, clarity, and a deeper connection to the world around us. If you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who might benefit from these timeless teachings. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our journey through the world of Stoicism. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences with minimalism and Stoicism in the comments below. How has simplifying your life brought you more peace and fulfillment? Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay resilient, stay focused, and keep striving for a life of virtue and wisdom.